happy Halloween for those that celebrate it. Today is October 31st, 2023, and this is Flosstube number 45, I believe. I think. I don't know. So as you can see, I even got a little dressed up for you. This is this is not actually a costume. This is something that's in my wardrobe. Which I do wear, and it's really hot. That's why there's no makeup, because it would just slide right off. But yeah, so I thought I'd dress up a little bit to, bring a bit into it. But anyway, so for those of you that have just joined or found me, hi, welcome along. My name is Kat. This is Cat Stitch, and it's a channel pretty much all about cross stitch. And for those that are coming back, thank you guys very much. As you can hear, this is my favorite day of the year. I feel most energized and just the happiest. It's like my Christmas, you know. So yeah, so this is a good day. So that's why I decided, even though it's later in the day, I'm going to give it a go recording. I'm so hot. So this might have to come off because I'm actually sweltering with a cape on. So hang on just a second, Mike. See, what the heck have I done here? That one. Here we go. Okay. Oh, that feels better. Alrighty. Look, I've done a little bit of, just a little Halloweeny going on over here. I added some netting, and we've got my little candles going. It looks really cool at night. Okay, so what's happening? Oh, and also lots of new subscribers. Hi, and thank you very much for subscribing. Totally appreciate. And I'm sure that Michelle, Bendy Stitcher, the lovely Michelle, has probably directed a few of you my way, so thank you very much for stopping by, and Michelle, thank you very much for the shout out. Okay, so what's on the board today? Today we have got new starts, some whips, some finishes, and some fully finishes, and a little bit of sewing, and a little bit of stitchy kindness. So it's an all over one. I don't know, is it a triple hitter or a full house, or I don't know, some terminology, I'm sure. And then we're going to talk about some plans, not just for November, but also for next year. And hopefully you'll stick around for that, so that you can also maybe consider joining me in some of those plans. Okay, so let's get started. Right, the first one was a totally unplanned new start. Didn't have it on my view, nothing. But then I saw this chart and I had to get it and start it straight away. It is this one here. It's by Luba, Davies, Atelier. You can get it on Etsy. I've got a lot of Luba's charts, like a lot. I've got a lot of her quotes and things like that, which I want to start sort of getting done slowly but surely. So, I mean, I just loved the design. I'm not doing it for this year, obviously, because there's no way I was going to finish it in 3 days. Well, there probably was, but yeah, it wasn't going to happen this year. So instead, I've made a good start on it, and I'm using the fabric is from Silk Weavers, and this was a beautiful gift from the lovely Judith, who, when she was over in the States, she went to one of your lovely needlework stores that have so much more than what we have over here in New Zealand, and she brought me back this piece of fabric, which is gorgeous. And now I'm using it for this design, well, a little part of it for this design. So isn't that gorgeous? And I'm using Etoile thread, so black Etoile for the spider and the 3799 Etoile for the web. I'm still making up my mind about what I'm going to use for the colours of the words, whether I stick with black or I might go purple. I don't know. It sort of comes to me when I get to those points, because I don't plan any of this. I just grab what seems right when I'm starting to stitch it. I know. So there we go. So that's my start on my little Halloween decorating spider, which I think is lovely, and I'd love to have him hanging around and come and decorate. It'd be great. So that's him. On to the whips, because that was the only new start that wasn't finished. Okay, so this one is by Erin Elizabeth. It's called Witch's Coffee House, which is this design here. And this is where I was up to, and it's been stitched on 14 count Wolf Marite by Jodie Redesigns, and it's opal, so it's sparkly. And now this is where I am up to. So let me just get the board, Miss Ford. Here we go. It's probably a very old quote that nobody knows what it means, but that's okay. So there we go. So that's where we're up to now. So a good little bit of progress. I don't know where, but I somehow miscounted somewhere. So I had to squish the E in. But I don't mind. That's fine. So that's Witch's Coffee House. Another new start, which I think I showed you some of. If so, then this is what the design is. It's Puntini. It's Happy Halloween. And I'm sure I showed this last time. So here is where I was last time you saw it. It has been stitched on a beautiful piece of 18 count called Greywack from Country Stitch in New Zealand. And this was part of my 1000 step challenge on, yes, so you did see it. You saw it after the first 100, the first 100 start. So yeah, so this was for the 1000 steps, and I did 1790 something in total for this month. So there we go. So I'm really happy with that. And as you can see, that's where the house is going to go. My haunted house is going to go in there. But I'll do the other fence first. Okay, so those two are ones that I was recently working on, which is why they're still on the Q-snap. Next up, for the first time since the start of the year, I pulled Miss Spider out. Miss Spider by Nora Corbett. She is beautiful. And I, started with a real zoom, and then, I don't know, she just got put away, and I think it was the tendrils down the bottom. It was just so many changes of and I sort of lost interest. But I pulled her back out, so that's where I was. And now, this is where we are. So she's been stitched on 14 count DMC mint marble, I think, or it's just marble, but it's the minty one. So all I have to do is the wings, the back stitch, and the beads, and then she's done. So I'm thinking she's going to be a this year finish. I started her on the 1st of January, and this is about session number 6 working on her. So, I probably could have done her in a week if I'd actually, or a week or 10 days if I'd actually just focused, been monotonous, stitching on her only. But yeah, and I love her. So pretty. Her dress, so the black and the dark grey of her dress is étoile. So she sparkles even a little bit more, because every girl needs to sparkle. Because I'm doing it on 14 count Ada, there's no 1/1 for the face. But that's fine. I think it works wonderfully with her. So that's Miss Spider. And yes, I even ironed a little bit today. Oh no, shocker, isn't it? Two times in a row where I've got ironed products. Okay, so this next one is Plum Street Samplers. It is Olga's Tart. Had to think about that for a second. Which is this one here. And I'm stitching it on 20 count that I tea dyed with a little tiny splash of brick green, because that's what I do when I'm playing in the kitchen. I throw something else in. And this is where I was when you last saw it, and here we are now. It is pretty hard because I'm doing 1/1 on 20 count, and I've had a couple of miscounts, so I've had to do some frogging, and 1/1 on 20 count to frog is a pain in the tushy. So yeah, it got put away for a few days, but I pulled it back out again and started filling in the cat. So there we go. Next up is my stitch along, my start along, the Halloween Hamlet. Now this is by Carolyn Manning, and start at any time. Not planning on having a finish on this one until Halloween next year, so plenty of time. It does work on Pattern Keeper, and so I'm sort of trying to target about 10% every month. So for October 10%, and then that way it'll finish before October next year, and give me time to maybe fully finish when I figure out how I'm going to do that. So this is where I was before, at the start of the month, and here we are now. So I've up here. I've finished this house completely, added the smoke, nearly completed that house, but I just really wanted to get onto the tree, and I've still got another couple of leaves over here to do. But this has been stitched on 18 count, and it's one that I jar dyed with pearl grey Rit, and then right at the end, about a minute before I took, tipped it all out, I threw in a splash of purple, Rit purple, which isn't, oh, you can sort of just see it over there. You can see the tinge up there. So there we go. And I'm at 17%. So I'm slightly ahead of the game, but that's a good thing. Just in case I have, more downtime, and that's fine. Next up is another Salomon with Judy from An Aussie in a Kiwi World. It is the Wizard of Oz Tree by Tiny Modernist, which is this one here. And what I've done, so that I can try and finish it by the end of the year, is I've broken down each of the branches for a month. Okay, so this month I had the October branch to do, which was down the bottom, and I showed you where I just started stitching on the Good Fairy. Is it Glenda? I always get the name wrong. I just always called it the Good Fairy. So this is where we are now. So I finished it, and thanks to the wonderful Lynn, she sent me the thread that I was missing so that I could finish off those leaves and my apple, and also do them in here as well. So I'm so stoked. Thank you so much, Lynn, for helping me out with that, so that I could stick to my no more buying. And I'm loving this. This is actually a lot of fun. Yes, there's a lot of color changes with this, in here and stuff like that. And I did a slight boo-boo on the dress. I got the wrong pink out for the top part, but I actually quite like it. So that's what I did. Because that light pink is supposed to be up the top, but I actually think it works okay. Danged if I was going to unstitch it. And this has been stitched on 14 count that I jar dyed again. I think I used a little bit of green and tea. So that's that one. Very happy. Oh, we're zooming along these ones. This is good. Now on to the finishes. Okay. This one in particular, I started back in 2020, so it was pretty much my oldest whip. I wasn't sure if I could count it as a whip because I put it in my UFO box, which was one set was never going to get finished. In this case, I do love the design. I was planning on restarting it on a lighter fabric because I was really struggling on anything close to black. And this is like a charcoal black grey. And I was about halfway done, so this is where I was. And it's a great design. You say which, like it's a bad thing, by the Witchy Stitcher. And, as I was reorganizing stuff, and I do go through that UFO box or bag occasionally just to sort of see, am I going to, finally frog the whole thing and maybe use the fabric for something else, or am I going to give it another go? Well, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it another go. So for 2 very slow days of stitching, because I had to keep on stopping, I stitched on it, and here we go. So the reds are Etoile, it is 666 and 816, and then the white is B5200. I was thinking of doing the glow in the dark, but I was already struggling enough. And so to give myself a thread like the glow in the dark thread, yeah, nah, we're not doing that. So I was really, really happy with that finish. So I had pretty much, I'd done half stitches for the word witch. So I just had to do the other half back. And then I did all of this down the bottom here and the candles. And then that was it. I decided not to put the flames in. There's supposed to be little flames with the white, but I didn't like them. I did put one in, but I didn't like it, so I took it out. So there we go. So that's You Say Witch by the Witchy Stitcher, and it's been stitched on 14 count black hole, and this is by Jodie Redesigns. Really, really cool colour. I mean, I love the fabric. I just wish I could stitch easier on it. But, you know, I finally got into a rhythm of being able to stitch on it, as long as I didn't try and stitch on anything else. That's why I spent two full days just working on this one. Now, the next couple of finishes, and I get the feeling I'm missing my Franken hoodie. I've finished this one too, but I can't find where I put him. On the Kate Stitcher Facebook page, she did a year-long gift of mugs, of her lovely little mugs, just miniature ones, you know. And I thought, oh, I don't know if I want to do all of them, but there's quite a few mugs on there I'd like to do. And I thought, instead of getting another whole piece of fabric, I've got a lot of these designs that I've done, that I've finished previously, that have good pieces of fabric left at the bottom. So that's what I'm starting to use before I cut them up, because it's easier to put in the Q-snap. So these are two of the mugs by Kate Stitcher. So of course I had to do the Canada one. And I did the Irish one, because, you know, everyone loves the Irish. So I've done those two. Now I did make a couple of changes, because in the actual chart, the bottom line of red is 1 in on either side, so I added a half stitch at each end, and then I also back stitched just to tidy it up. And I'm thinking, I'm dithering about whether I should back stitch around the white mug as well, maybe in the red. Haven't decided, which is why it hasn't been done. So it's a finish for now, and I've still got more mugs to do. And if you go onto the Kate Stitch Facebook page, you'll see she's also got a Christmas mug sale that's just started. So it's just had its first drop. And yeah, there's four cute little mugs, which you could either do as a set of 4, or you could do individually and use as cards or ornaments or little gifts, pincushions, make little stand up so they look like little mugs sitting on your shelf or something like that. So check it out. Another one which is on the other end of the piece of fabric, that I had my bee tier from Erin Elizabeth. Now the tiers, I've got a few of them now. I've got the Canada and the Halloween. I still want to get the English one and a couple of the others. But as you can see, now this is on 18 count, yes, but they're not big. They're not big. So, you know, these are lovely little ones to do. So I want to do all of them, which is part of my plans for next year. Anyway, at the bottom of that one, I did 2 more. I did 2 Hooties. So here's some more Hooties. We've got the Skelly Hootie and the Dracky Hootie. So we've got my Dracula and my skeleton. So I got those 2 done. Those were actually the first 2 that I did. And then I did my Franken hoodie, and I don't know where I put it. Which is, I also finished my gnome, my Mill Hill gnome, and I don't know where I put that. So they'll be around. My little imps have gotten in, nipped off with it. Okay, a bigger finish, which I mentioned in my last video, that, you know, looking at a end of year finish. Well, no, it's an end of month finish. It's Chester's Place. This beautiful design by Whistlestop Designs, Whistlestop Studio. It's on here. And this is where I was. Now, yes, there was a lot of unpicking. Hundreds and hundreds of stitches I've taken out of this and put back in. But it was well worth it. And I'm really pleased with the results. So here's Chester's Place. All finished. And the reason I started this design originally was because I first saw it on Sarah's Stitchy Spot. Sarah was doing this one, and now she's doing it in memory of Chester, which is wonderful. But each of these animals actually represent animals that I've had. So my horse was Dusky Rose. I had 2 sheep, but there's one there to represent both, and that's Sooty and Sweep. I know. I've had Jedi Master, Gizmo, Tegan and Bear, my little black dogs. There's Bobby. Bobby's in the middle. There's Monkey, but that also represents Blackjack, and Silky, my other 2 black cats. And those are my chickens, because we used to have chickens. Just see them. And the little bunny, that represents all of my rodent type characters. So I've had bunnies, mice, rats, hamsters, guinea pigs. Yeah, you know, I like animals. Although my rat was my best friend. He was a hooded rat, and I had him for a while, and he used to just sit on my shoulder and we'd yak to each other. It was great. So there we go. Until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened. Beautiful sentiment and a beautiful design. And I'm really happy to have done that. I'm thinking this one will get mounted and put up on the wall, rather than putting it into a scrapbook or turning into a bag or something. So that's that one. Another one I said I was going to get done by the end of the year was another sale that I'm hosting. I'm so good at hosting sales, and everyone gets way ahead of me. It is this one by Puntini Craft Supplies. I will not buy craft supplies this month. Another lies I tell myself. So far I'm doing pretty good. I'm sticking to this. I mean, I made a few colour changes and things like that because I had some threads in a bag and I just went with what was in the bag. I didn't go out and kit up a whole bunch of colours. And I finished it. So there it is there. Oh, yeah, well, I mean, you would have seen where I was up to. And there's one of my little pins. One of the little pins I made. As you can see. Still going to add a couple of beads onto it. But yeah, really happy with that. It's very cool. And it's actually a fun design to do. So I'm happy to have finished it, especially when so many finished it before me, who started it after me. So yeah, really happy with that. And I'm still deciding how I'm going to finish it, fully finish it. So yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a sign that goes above my desk. Thinking, I don't know, but it might get mounted on canvas. And then another finish is one of the Mill Hill Witches. I think this is Mimi or Muriel, or there's a trilogy. I'm actually going to stitch on a beaded string thing, like I've done with the gnome, because I like that on the gnome. So I've cut it out. I just need to put backing on it, and then it'll be fully finished. So I can go over there. And then the last big finish. Dun, 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 dun. So just over a year, because I started it in September last year. And it was part of the Happy Mood Point sale. It's this one here, First the Copy. And then earlier this year, to try and give myself a bit more of a push, I said, hey, look, you know, anyone else want to do this one? Because I knew a couple of other people that had it. Hey, join me. We'll call it the Coffee Time Sale. And so a few other people did. And I know one person, who'll go unnamed, who not only started it, but finished it within, what was it, about a month? 6 weeks? Less than a month? It was less than a month. And I was thinking, man, I really need to pull finger. And she did a beautiful job. She stuck with the same colour tones, whereas I went completely off base, which is typical. So this is where I was last time you saw it. I had just done the coffee beans, a few of the coffee beans down the bottom. And now here we go. All finished. All done. So I finished down the bottom there. And as you can see, now there's supposed to be an alphabet in there. Okay. I charted, because it's first I drink the coffee and then eat chocolate. And the reason it's got SJC is because of my real name being Sarah Jane. So if I do put my initials or anything on any stitching, it's always SJC. I very rarely do, I mean, I might do KC on occasion, as long as I've got SJC somewhere hidden as well. I was going to put, I mean, because there's the year there, so I don't need to put the year. I'm going to see if I can find a little chocolate charm or something and put that in there. I mean, I've got a coffee cup charm I could use, push comes to shove, but I'd rather try and find a little chocolate button or chocolate charm or something like that. So this was all stitched with sulky threads, 1/1. So it's a combination of the basic sulky threads. Whoop, knew that was going to happen. The basic sulky threads and some of the blendables. And right at the beginning, I just picked out a bunch of them that I liked the colours of, and then put them into a bag. And then every time I was coming to do a decal or a motif, I just grabbed out 2 or 3. So it was a lucky dip a lot of the way. So I was really pleased to get this one done, because it's a biggie. It's a biggie. That's a lot of stitching, but I love it. Right, so that's all the whips, the starts, and the finishes. Let me just move these over. Sorry, Bob. Right, so FFOs. I've just got 3 framed things that I roughly framed. Is it 3? 4? 4. 4 things I roughly framed. Because I don't do framing, and then this way it gives me the option that I can take it back out again and do something else with it, which is highly likely. Okay, so the first one was the test stitch that I did for Spider X Stitch, and this is her cozy cup, and I just put it into here. I don't have a lot of Christmas decorations, so I couldn't exactly decorate this, and I didn't have a lot of frames that fit it. I did originally put it into a mirrored sparkly one, but it just didn't look right. The black, you needed the black on there, you know, the darker on there to sort of make that pop a bit more, and it did. So I'm happy with that. So I've got that one done. This one is a Joan Elliott. It's actually, there's 3 parts to it, but I needed 2, and it is the Halloween sampler. And here we are, just in a simple black shadow frame. It's stitched on 14 count, and it was won by the Witchy Stitcher. This is the fabric. The threads are either Etoile, Glow in the Dark, or Jodie Redesigns threads. So there we go. Hopefully you can, oh there we go, it's a bit better. It's not perfectly framed, but hey, it's framed. That's, and I'm giving myself a point for that, because I don't frame anything. Do this one next. The next one was a stitch along I was doing last year. It's a little loose. Why is it a little loose? Oh, it's just a tag thingy. It is the Plum Street Samplers Cinnamon Stars. I'm just double checking. And here we go. So that's now framed. I don't have a lot in the way of frames. I don't go op shopping and things like that to find them. And so I just was trying to make use of, you know, well, what finishes have I got that'll fit in the frames that I've got. So I might end up decorating the frame at some point. Maybe putting some leaves around it, or, you know, little pumpkin buttons or something down here. But for now, I'm happy that, you know, my Cinnamon Stars is now. See, I've got the K on this one. But again, it's removable so that I can change my mind or get a different frame or whatever. Easy enough to switch out. And then the last one is the one that was dearest to me. I've got fluff all over it. This is the one in memory of my dad, who passed away a few years ago. And I finished it earlier in the year, and then I wasn't sure how I was going to fully finish it, and I just sort of thought, you know, I just want something simple, and I will add some Canadian like maple leaves or motifs or something around the edge of it, because it's given me it's got a nice wide border on the frame. So here we go. That's what I did for my dad. So yeah, so because he was in the Navy, the Canadian Navy and things like that, I've actually found a little Navy gnome to stitch. So I'm going to do it on, like, if I can, 25 count, do 1/1, and maybe just attach him down there, and you know, just try and it's hard for me to find Canadian stickers or things like that over here, unfortunately, but I do have a couple, and I've got some leaves, you know, some maple leaves, so I can put some bits and pieces on here and decorate that up a bit, and then that'll go into Dad's corner when I get that set up. So yeah, so I was really pleased to get that done. Yeah. Right, so that is all of my stitchy stuff, but I got a little bit of stitchy kindness, and it was wonderful. Now, the lovely Judith, who does pretty much all of my bags, all my project bags, she, through her work, does end up going over to the States, you know, every now and then, and she happened to go to the attic. I know. You know, colour all of us over here totally drooling when she was sending us photos back, and we were just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Well, she brought me back a little something which I was over the moon about. Okay, actually I'll do it in two parts. So the first part, just get these out. The magnets come off, I just need to glue it back on. But it's this lovely needle minder. There we go. Look, it's an attic needle minder. The attic needlework where samplers rule. Isn't that cool? So I just need to glue the magnet back onto it, and it'll be all good to go. And then she also got me these Halloween labels for your needlework by Kathy Barrick. Look at those, aren't they cool? So on the back of some of these stitches that I've now finished, look at them, they're so cool. Got the owl and the witch flying. The witch cooking up some goodies. You know, me having just a strum on the old banjo. It's alright. Lovely witch at night. Me scaring the bejeeps out of the cats. Grub Batilda. That's quite cool. And that one. So they've got, this piece was wrought by and completed on, and there's the title, the designer, what linen and thread. Aren't they really cool? So I got those. Never had anything like that before. And those were by Kathy Barrick. So such a cool little thing. But that wasn't all she brought back. No. Now last time she brought me back that really cool back fabric, plus a pencil and another couple of bits and pieces. This time, oops, of course I opened it around the wrong way. Have you guys seen this? Gothic Halloween is by Twin Peaks Primitives. Look at those designs. Look at them. Oh my god. OMG. I mean, I'm not a huge skull fan, but I even want to stitch that because that is so cool looking. I mean, he's a grinning looking dude, man. He's cool. And I'm not even a pumpkin fan, but I want to stitch the pumpkin. So there we go. So there's 9 designs in there. Look, we've even got a where are we? There we go. Look, bride and groom. I know I've heard some people say, we need a bride and groom one. Well, there we go. Got a bride and groom one in here. And, you know, and the designs are so easy to read. There's small versions of the design, and then there's like a blown up version so that you can read it easier. And they're just so cool. and just, you know, and none of them are huge. Like even that skull one is 109 by 85. The drum about 133 by 73, so even that's not overly big. Oh man, yeah. So I'm gonna be getting stitching on those. Actually, they're part of my next year's plans. So that was from the lovely Judith. So thank you very much, Judith, if you're watching. I did send her a thank you. But yeah, that was such a surprise. And then this was an even bigger surprise because I had I went out to the letterbox and I was thinking, there was a box in the letterbox and I thought, oh, that must be for my housemate. So I grabbed it and then I looked on top and it was to me and I was thinking, eh? What's next? I haven't ordered anything. What on earth is this thing? So I got it inside and I opened it up and there was all this lovely tissue. So lovely tissue inside. And then there was this beautiful card. Look at this gorgeous card. Isn't that lovely? Very Kiwi. Actually, I love those owls. But then, we got like such beautiful things. Kowhai, Tuis. It's just very Kiwi. Very Kiwi card. And then inside was a beautiful note. And Cherry Parker. Now, she is a fantastic New Zealand designer. She's been designing for decades. Decades and decades. She designed my strawberries. She's designed so many Kiwiana themed cross stitches. If you check out Creative Lee, you'll see that Lee's doing the New Zealand themed ball, and that's by Cherry. So, but she doesn't just do cross stitch, she's like a creative genius, and she does all these other things as well. Well, she does gnomes. Now, we all know I love gnomes, and we also know that I'm going to be starting to do a little bee corner, right? So she sent me a couple of friends for me to look after, to be pride of place in my bee corner. Look at them, aren't they gorgeous? Look, these are what Cherry designed and did. Aren't they absolutely fantastic? I just they're so cute, and they stand up so nicely, better than my ones do. And they're made out of felt, and they've got like a little flower on the back, and they're just so cute, and I really love them. And I was just, I was in their pipe cleaner thingy, so you can play with the antennas and you can make them wonky shapes, or it is so cool. So they're very cool. So Cherry, I love you and thank you so much. These were just such a surprise and such a joy, and I was bawling my eyes out. And now I'm really happy I can put them out now. Put them out on the shelf. But there was also something else in the box. Now, how I want to do some little witches and stuff like that, and I finally got the witches' heads, but now I'm needing to get wool so I can make hair and all that sort of stuff. Well, Cherry sent me some wool roving, because I can use this to make the hair on my dolls, my little dolls. Isn't that cool? So my witches are going to have some really funky looking hair, man. They are going to look so cool. So there's that. And because she knows, she said, I heard you like Halloween fabric and you have a hard time getting it. Well, dang straight I have a hard time getting it. But look what she got me. Look at this. Hang on. Isn't that cool? That is just, wow, look. Isn't that, look, it's just very, haunted and costume and October and trick treat and just so cool. I was sitting there finding all the words. Bat, costume, Halloween, candy, apple, pumpkin, spooky cat, boo. So it is just absolutely fantastic fabric. So what I'd like to do is make a small bag or something like that, but I want to make one of my coffee wonkies. I don't call them a coaster, remember, I call them a wonky. And you know, and like a thread keep, or you know, something like that I can keep on my workspace, especially if I'm, you know, when I'm going to the retreat next year. We are almost full. We have, I think there's about 18 spots left. 18, 20, 18, 17. No, might be less than that now. So, you know, if you're interested, it is the first weekend of August here in Lower Hutt in Wellington, in New Zealand, next year, obviously. And it's bee themed or spring themed, because, you know, we're going to be going into spring, and all that sort of stuff. So that was the Stitchy Kindness. So thank you very, very much, Cherry and Judith. It's been a hard month, and those two things really picked me up and definitely kept me going on the days that they arrived. So thank you so much. My honey came over. I asked him if he could look at the sewing machine. You know when you have a car that makes noises and you go to the mechanic and they look at you like you're some stupid broad because it's not making any sounds, but you know you heard something before you went there. I knew that sewing machine was not working and it was jamming. He comes in, we plug it all in, he sits down, gets a scrap piece of fabric. Yeah. It's still not going perfectly. It does need clean. And he's going to do that next time. But I thought, okay, I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to, whatever thread's in there, that's what I'm going to use. Because I had my wonkies that I'd cut out, and I hadn't been able to do them because the sewing machine had died. And I wasn't going to hand sew all of them. So these are the wonkies that I did, and yes, they're definitely wonky. So the mug coasters, or whatever you want to call them, but I call them wonkies because they're wonky. So there's these ones. There's that set. I love this teal. That one. That on the back. Actually, we should just do that. There we go. And there's this one. I call it noise because that's what the words are. Noise, 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 noise. And then this one. And then lastly, I had to do at least one Halloween one, for crying out loud. So there we go. I just need to iron them, but I wasn't going to plug it in again after I'd just unplugged it and put everything away. So that's what those are. Is that everything I need to show? Right, okay, now I can go on to plans for next year. Now if you'd watched Michelle, Bendy Stitchy, she would have already given you the heads up in regards to what my plans are for next year, and you're welcome to join in. So are you like me with a lot of series of smalls? You might have started, done a couple of months, never got around to doing the rest of them, a couple of the houses, never got around to doing the rest of them, a couple of even a season and not done the other seasons. You know, those ones that you know, really great ideas, and then so many more come out and you squirrel moment and you forget all about those first ones that you wanted to start. Now you want to start these ones, and so you get all of that series, and oh boy, suddenly you're down a rabbit hole with all these series that you're not even stitching at all. I've got a lot of them. I've also got groups, so not just series. So when I say a series, yes, there has to be at least 4, but it could be one like you've already started the series this year, that you've already done 1 or 2 of them. You still got to do the other 2 or 3 or whatever. you know, to finish that series. Well, they count. I also include, if you have like the Prairie School or Christmas Village. This is one of the ones that Village. This is one of the ones I'm doing. But I'm doing them as individuals. They're all smalls. And there's 9 of them. So that's a series. But it can also include theme series. So I've got a bunch of smalls that I've put together. So there's my bee themed ones, there's my Halloween themed ones, there's my Canadian themed ones, there's my Stitchy themed ones, and then there's my houses. So there's those themes. I just haven't even started, you know. And so I sort of thought, okay, my plan is for this year to finish what I can of my whips. If it doesn't get finished, I might keep it out if it's close to a finish, but otherwise it'll be going away until 2025. Next year is all going to be like all new starts, mainly, all throughout the year, just working on those smalls, on those series that I have brought over the last 3.5 years and never started. Are you like me? Do you have those? Not to mention, I've already seen another 2 or 3 series that I want to get. You know, they're on my wish list. And I'm like, I can't buy any more series until I get these ones done. If it's a small series, like a collaboration, like there's Float and Sting, which is Plum Street and, is it Heartstring? I've got those. I want to do those next year. So, you know, those sorts of ones, which are just those mini ones, yeah, include them in. If you want to join me, and you don't have to just stitch on smalls. If you want to stitch on other things, go for it. But every time you do one of those seasonal ones, or one of those ones that's a series that you're starting to get through, they can be the Mill Hill ones, you know, like the Mill Hill Village or the Mill Hill or Satsuma Street ornaments, or, you know, stuff like that. They can be anything like that, just for smalls. Something that would easily fit into an A4, a letter size notebook, if you were going to scrapbook them. Okay, so my idea is they've got to be under that. Now, having said that, there's going to be one slight change to my plan next year. Thank you, Jacob, and Michelle. So yeah, so if you want to join me, we're going to start in January. I'm not saying on January 1st because a lot of people have special ones they want to start on that day. I want to start travelling when I think of travelling by Puntini because next year will be 20 years since I did my overseas experience, and I just want to do something to commemorate it. And so this is the one that I've chosen to do it because it's got a few of the items on it that remind me of places that I went when I went overseas. This year I started a Nora Corbett, my Miss Spider. So I'm going to start when I think of travelling at one point of it, but then the other start might be one of my biggest ready ones that I've ever done, depending on what fabric I choose. And that's going to be the new 2024 Sal. I you know, don't get me wrong, I've loved every single other one, but I've seen the massive sizes, like, you know, there's just no way. No, not gonna, no. But this one, because of the clock, those dang squirrels. It's the squirrels that get me. So cute. Look, I mean, look at those squirrels. You know, I mean, they're just gorgeous. But also, you know, time flies. And this one means a lot to me. This one resonates more with me than a lot of other charts that I've seen, especially when it's going to be a big design. So when I saw it, I thought, oh, dang it. Okay. Now, Michelle, Bendy Stitchy, she's starting this on the 1st of January. I'm not sure if I'll be able to start it on the 1st. It will depend. It might be the 2nd that I start it. But then again, if I start it on the 2nd here, it's the 1st there. So that could work. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see if I get any Christmas money, or I don't know, if I've been good. Who knows? Anyway, so if you want to join me in the Stitching Smalls Challenge, the hashtag will be Series Small Challenge 2024, which is this one here. And yeah, honestly, and if you're going to post on Instagram, please make sure that you tag me, so that I can see it. Otherwise, Instagram's it's doing its thing, and it's just been a pain in the tushy. Right, so that's next year's plans. So if I'm giving you plenty of time if you want to join in and do it. I'm starting to go through mine and trying to whittle down which ones realistically I might have a chance of getting through. I'm going to do a lot of the different month ones because I've got a lot of them. I've got a lot of series of months. But what I'm going to do is I'm only going to work on that one for like a week, and if I don't finish it in that month, it's just going to get put aside until next year, the year after, sort of thing, and that's perfectly fine. And then if another month I finish one early, then I can pull one of those ones back out and see if I can get another finish out of those. Right, so that's next year's plans. For November, again, I'm going to do my whip frenzy and work on my whips in the first week, but I've also got a couple of new starts that I want to do. I want to do a very cool one by Finally a Farm Girl, which she sent me, so I'm going to get started on that. Oh yeah, I'm very excited. I was going to start her this month, but she's been moved to November, so, and she's going to be done by Christmas, so she's going to be a this year finish one. I've also got I'm going to keep up with the Happy Halloween and the Halloween Hamlet, do a bit more on those. Again, just keep on working on some of those other whips and see if I can get them down. But I'm also going to try the acrostic with Crafts and Books. Sorry, Beth, on Facebook. So Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, she has a Facebook page, Craft and Books, and they're doing an acrostics this month. The word is thankful. And so I think I've picked out the ones that I'm going to work on. There's going to be a few new starts because in our Halloween Facebook page, we've got our Nevermore November. And I got to admit, now the Lila's studio Nevermore, Leela's studio, Leela, either way, her studio, the Nevermore one, this one here, I don't want to do the whole thing. I just want to do that center section. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's going to be my Nevermore focus piece from tomorrow. And then there's another challenge. What's the other challenge? Oh, brain hurts. Forgotten now. I knew I should have written it down. Anyway, if you want to see, go check out the Facebook page. The link is down below. Would love to see you over there. We just had 119 new members join. That is so cool. That was like a huge influx. It's like, whoa, okay, this is cool. We like this. So Anna does a fantastic job of, keeping us all entertained. She's already posted the challenges for next year to show, what we're going to be doing next year. Obviously, Year of the Dragon, so it's dragon designs. And I have got a couple of designs. One of them's a Teresa Winsler, just a small one. I'm realistic, I'm not an idiot. And so I'm thinking, you know what, I actually might finally get that done. So I'm going to give that a go. But yeah, a lot of her challenges are already posted on the Facebook page, so go and check it out if you're not already a member. And it's not all about Halloween next year. There's free choices, there's, and stuff like that, just to sort of encourage people that, like me, I haven't done a lot of Halloween stitching this year, which has been very strange and probably why I've been going so loopy. But, what I have done has made me happy, but I'm doing a lot of stitching that I can't show on that page because it's not Halloween. Well, this will give me the opportunity that I can share some of the other stitching I'm doing. And I mean, fortunately, a lot of my friends from the Halloween page have invited to my little personal page so that I can post all my stuff and they can see it. Otherwise, they don't get to see it because they're not in New Zealand. Whereas I can post on the New Zealand page and everyone, you know, in our New Zealand group sees it. But a lot of my Halloween friends are overseas and they won't get to see it because they're not members of the New Zealand Facebook group. That was a mouthful. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to get going. I'm going to see if I can get this to edit quickly. And then hopefully YouTube will be very nice to me and upload it nice and quickly so you guys get it for Halloween. And meanwhile, you guys have a wonderful spooky evening. Have a lovely Halloween and safe Halloween trick-or-treating if that's what you do. I'm going to be turning off the lights because we don't want trick-or-treaters because it sets the dog off all the time. Bobby doesn't like trick-or-treaters, in all honesty. It's just because the masks, I think. He doesn't like masks. And Monkey's not feeling too well. I think Monkey was injured and so he's limping a bit, and I just have to watch him for the next 36 hours. I don't know if I'm returning to work this week. It's supposed to be tomorrow, but I haven't heard. And I've got the doctors on Friday who will give the yay or nay to me going back to work. I've got blood tests tomorrow. Yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, so that's it. That's pretty much the beans. So there we go. So I probably won't see you until the end of the month. So I'll see you at the end of November. Hopefully you guys, if you have Guy Fawkes and fireworks and all that sort of stuff, which we've already started having, which is annoying, people using up all their fireworks from last year that they overspent on just so they can go out from tomorrow for the next few days and buy up large, and they'll start letting them off, which is just wrong on so many levels. It's like, you know, hello, you can't afford food, don't buy fireworks. Really simple. And why do they all have to make such loud noises? It's like pet peeves, people. It's like, I mean, I've heard of these ones that have beautiful lights and everything, but make no noise. That's the thing. If you could have ones that have these beautiful sparkly lights, but no, people buy all these ones that have these huge booms and stuff which scare the bejeepers out of Bobby. Monkey doesn't give a rat's, he's fine. But it does scare Bobby. So the next week is going to be not a lot of stitching, because as soon as those start going off, he's right up on me. So so between watching him and watching Monkey over the next week or two, I don't think I'll be doing much stitching anyway, and especially when I don't know what's happening in regards to my job. If I can't go back this week, it means I probably won't have a job. But you know, you just roll with it, and you make do with what you can. And I'm getting used to Weet-Bix. Okay, so I'll probably see you at the end of next month, so the end of November. Okay, and I'd like to thank all of you new viewers for stopping on by. If you like what you saw, if you made it to the end, good on you, you glutton for punishment. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, you know, do all the things. Leave a comment if you've got any questions about any of the stitching or anything like that, or about the stitch along or anything. Just drop it down below, or you can send me a DM on Cat Stitch on Instagram as well. I think that's everything. I also want to do a shout out to Mary from Magnolia Stitches. She's just got a new one out. Sarah from Sarah Stitchy Spot, hers is a new one out. Miss Chloe SW, thank you very much for your shout out. I appreciated that. Also, who else have we got? Oh, Mad Morty and Brom, always one of my favorite couples to watch. And you know, Lizzie Stitcher, her finishes, and she's just done some gorgeous pairs. You got to go and have a look. They are absolutely gorgeous, and those were her first ones. You know, so if give it a go. Honestly, she did a fantastic job. I don't know if I could do as good, but you know, that might be something I'll try next year. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so next year, think about joining me. And meanwhile, you guys just take care, keep well, and I send prayers and thoughts out to all those that are going through difficult times and moments at the moment. And just know that, you know, we just need to keep strong, and peace. Peace is the word. That's why I don't watch the news. I know what's going on out there. I don't watch the news. And even not watching the news and hearing about it hurts my heart to know that history's not taught people anything, you know. My grandfather was a pacifist, and I mean he defended his country, you know, but he was a pacifist, and he was a just going off tangent a little bit, but he was a soldier, and he was a senior soldier, sergeant, whatever, at the Japanese prisoner of war camp here in New Zealand. My grandfather never liked violence. He always believed that talking was the way to find a solution. Violence was not needed. Fighting wasn't needed. Why should I, you know, shoot at somebody that I don't even know? I've never had a problem with. They've never done anything to me. Why would I be wanting to kill them? You know. And one particular day, the prisoners decided to have a sit-in because they didn't like the conditions. Which, when you compare to what our people were going through when they were prisoners, they had pretty cushy conditions. But regardless, they were still prisoners, and they were expected to do work like roadworks and things like that, like chain gang sort of stuff. And they didn't like the conditions, so they were having a sit-in. And the compound, there's like an inner compound, an outer compound, and then the outside of the camp. And the prisoners were all in the inner compound, and a lot of the soldiers did their walking around the outer compound. Well, when the sit-in happened, my grandfather's senior dude, officer, told my grandfather to draw his gun and shoot over their head. My grandfather refused. So yeah, he got in trouble because, you know, you don't refuse an order. But he refused because he didn't believe that that was necessary. His senior officer took his gun and was supposed to shoot over the heads of the prisoners. But he somehow shot one of the prisoners, and then a riot started. A lot of the Japanese prisoners were killed in the riot, plus one New Zealand soldier. When things were all back under, you know, under control and all that sort of stuff, none of the other soldiers would enter the inner compound unless armed and with somebody else. My grandfather would. He would go in unarmed. And I got to meet a few of the prisoners of war when we had there was a garden built opposite, a commemorative garden, a memorial garden built opposite where the prisoner of war camp had been. And I got to go to the opening ceremony with my granddad, and I got to meet a few of these incredible Japanese prisoners. And I say incredible because they were wonderful people. They were lovely. They weren't violent. They didn't want the war either, you know, but they were following orders because that's what you do when you're patriotic. And I got to talk to them and things like that, and they had such wonderful things to say about my granddad that, you know, they had a lot of time for him, and they had a lot of respect for my granddad because my grandfather was a pacifist and he did not believe in violence, and neither do I. I don't believe in toy guns. I'm like, what does it need to look? I mean, you know, when I was a kid, when we were growing up, man, we had empty fields and stuff, and we'd have like the hay getting cut, and we'd play cowboys and Indians, and we'd pick up sticks and we'd make chirp sounds. You know, we didn't need something that actually looked like something that would kill someone, you know. And I made sure that my grandkids weren't allowed even water pistols. That was a no-no. Heck no. No water pistols, no nothing like that. Nothing that looks like a gun. It's not needed. No weapons. You don't need knives. I was held up with my friend. We were held up by 5 teenagers. We're all teenagers at the time. I was about the same age as them. Of course I did what you're not supposed to do. I sort of argued with them because I was just annoyed at them having knives and doing that, you know. When you go through an experience like that, it can turn you one of two ways. You can either go on and keep defending people and keep talking against violence and keep talking about how just take a step back. We all bleed the same. You know, nobody owns land. Nobody does. You temporarily look after it. You don't own it. You know, you can be proud of your country. I'm proud of New Zealand. I'm also proud of Canada because that's part of my heritage. I'm proud of England because that's part of my heritage. But it doesn't mean that I feel that it's mine. You know, it doesn't mean that I, you know, don't want other people to come to the melting pot that is New Zealand because I don't want their influence. Rubbish. That's what makes us a melting pot. That's what makes us so cool. Is that, you know, we have all these different influences and flavors and just traditions that we can take little bits of and make them our own. And so when you hear of the wars that are going on, the destruction that is happening, and you can guarantee it's not the ones on the ground that made that decision. A few of them might support it, might agree totally with it. But I would like to think that we as humans know that it's just the ones that have the power that aren't on the ground floor risking their lives. It's like, you know, I'm not going to say what I think you should do because it'll probably get us banned. But anyway, so I just want you to know, it's not that I'm not aware of it. I also know we had, you know, another government elected, like whatever. Nothing, you know, it's not going to make us any better because they are very much more towards the rich people, just making the gap wider. So yeah, the ones that got in. It's like the gun lobbyists. I don't get it over there in the States. I was talking to somebody about that the other day. You have these incredible massacres. So many innocent lives. Don't get me wrong. Second Amendment, you got the right to bear arms. That's fine. That was written when it took you time to have to shove stuff into the pipe and push it down and everything like that. And you've got time to make a decision as to whether you're going to take the second shot. Nowadays, they get guns that can shoot 100 bullets in 60 seconds or less. That amendment doesn't work. Yes, you got the right to bear arms. Not those sorts. Restrict it. Get those lobbyists and put them in these schools. So that when those guys come in, they can be the target. Because they're the ones that want them to have the guns. Anyway, that's my rant. So, see, this is why I don't get political, because I am very opinionated in regards to that, and I am very, gosh, it's hot. I do have very strong views about that. I just don't talk about them very often. You just got it. It's the whole Halloween thing. I splurge everything on Halloween. It's great. But for now, I'm going to get going. I'm going to get this loaded up. If you made it through that dribble, I'm sorry. That was a whole 10 minutes worth of crap, really. But, you know, and if you don't agree with me and you don't want to watch anymore, that's perfectly fine. Totally understand. You know, I'm just, you know, live and let live sort of person, and I don't see... yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get why the rich don't help the poor. I don't get why the Grammys and everything like that, you know, the people on TV and music are heroes, and yet our police and ambulance and nurses and doctors are just, you know, fighting to get decent pay, decent hours. Don't get it. Just don't. But anyway, well, I think I've got that in my system for another whole year now, so you probably won't hear about that until, you know, Halloween next year. But anyway, so you guys take care. Have a great night. Be safe out there. Please do be safe. And if you're out and about for Guy Fawkes, and if you do Guy Fawkes and stuff, please be careful and just remember your animals and take care of them. Be there for them. Bobby's telling me it's time to get something to eat. So got to get that done. Otherwise he's going to get grumpy with Mummy because he's been a bit sick the last week. And now he's got his appetite back. He's quite over the moon, although he has lost weight, which is brilliant because that's what his goal has been, to lose weight before Christmas and get a summer body. He hasn't quite lost that much weight, but he's getting a little bit more curve. Not barrel, but curve. Yes, I'm talking about you, my baby. So he's walking around like, come on, got to get going. So that's it from me, Bobby, and my shadow monkey who's recovering at the moment. Wishing you guys all the best. Take care, and don't forget, march to the beat of your own drum. It's where the magic happens. Take care, everyone, and we'll catch up at the end of next month. Toodles. Bye.